What's up, Canadiens fans? This is the voice echoing from the Bell Center, bringing you another chapter of this intense season. Here at Habs Hockey News, we continue to keep a close eye on the market, watching teams that may take on the role of sellers, and today our attention turns to the Calgary Flames. Two names into the radar, two possible fits that could shift the direction of this roster. We begin with Nazem Kadri. Throughout the season, his name has circulated behind the scenes when the topic is strengthening the center position in Montreal, and not by accident. The Canadiens are looking for more presence, more experience, and more impact at the position. Kadri would arrive with the clear mission of taking over the second line, strengthening the power play, and bringing stability to a group that is still under construction. We are talking about a seasoned player, a Stanley Cup champion, accustomed to big games and decisive moments. He would not be just a short-term solution. His contract, carrying a $7 million cap hit through the end of the 2028-29 season, represents commitment and a medium to long-term vision. It is a move that would require courage and planning, and we all know the Calgary Flames would not part with a center of that caliber without demanding a significant return. If this negotiation moves forward, it will be because the Canadiens management sees in Kadri not just a reinforcement, but a strategic piece to accelerate the team's competitive process. The market is moving, the season remains alive, and every decision can redefine the path of the blue, white, and red. Following that line of thought, it is natural to imagine that Nazem Kadri would take on a leadership role within the Montreal Canadiens roster. Not only because of his years in the league, but because of the competitive personality he shows in high-pressure games. He is the type of player who does not hide when the matchup heats up, who takes responsibility and keeps the group focused in decisive moments. Inside a locker room filled with young talents still developing, Kadri could serve as a daily reference for preparation, intensity, and professional attitude. Leadership is not just about wearing a letter on your chest. It is about setting a standard of accountability, and that is something he has already proven capable of doing throughout his career. In Montreal, where expectations are constant and tradition carries weight, having an experienced voice that understands what it means to compete at a high level can make a difference in building the team's competitive identity. Continuing our analyses, the coach could maximize Nazem Kadri by placing him in direct matchups against the opponent's top lines, using his competitiveness and positional intelligence to balance play down the middle. He can be deployed in key moments, especially after goals against or at the start of periods, when it is necessary to regain control and intensity. Another strategic way to elevate his qualities would be to pair him with wingers who bring speed and finishing ability, allowing him to act as the engine of the line, dictating tempo and creating space through his quick reading of plays. In offensive transitions, his ability to protect the puck and sustain pressure can keep the team longer in the attacking zone. In addition, the coach can rely on him in special game situations, whether to protect a lead or to spark a comeback in adverse moments, using his competitive presence as a reference point within the tactical system. Continuing our analysis, the focus now shifts to Blake Coleman, a name that has also been linked to the Montreal Canadiens this season. The Calgary Flames forward emerges as an interesting option to strengthen the wings, bringing balance and competitiveness to the middle lines of the roster. If he were to wear the blue, white, and red, Coleman could confidently step into a role on the second or third line, offering 5-on-5 consistency and constant energy on every shift. He is the type of player who elevates the collective level, applies pressure, battles for every puck as if it were the last, and helps maintain a high tempo throughout the full 60 minutes. Beyond secondary offensive production, there is the intensity factor. Coleman plays both wings, adapts to different roles, and carries leadership qualities that strengthen the locker room. For a young group like the Canadiens, that presence could be decisive in the competitive maturation process. And as mentioned earlier, this would not be a temporary move. With a $4, $9 million cap hit through the end of next season, Coleman would represent a clear commitment, a piece designed to contribute immediately while also supporting the roster's short-term evolution. Looking ahead, Blake Coleman could represent much more than immediate depth for the Montreal Canadiens. In the medium term, he helps solidify a culture of tactical responsibility, something essential for a team aiming to consistently compete for playoff spots. Players with his profile sustain systems, execute specific roles, and allow more creative talents the freedom to make the difference. In the long term, his presence contributes to shaping the identity of the group. Winning teams are not built solely on stars, but on reliable players who maintain a standard of effort night after night. Coleman could be that quiet pillar who stabilizes lines, balances difficult stretches of the season, and helps turn potential into real consistency inside the Bell Center. Following this projection, Blake Coleman could help address a clear need for the Montreal Canadiens. Greater consistency from the middle lines over the course of 60 minutes. In several games, the team alternates strong stretches with dips in intensity, and a player with his profile tends to stabilize that rhythm, maintaining steady pressure even when the top stars are off the ice. He can also contribute to improving performance in defensive situations along the wings, something that often defines tight games. His tactical discipline and commitment away from the puck help close gaps, support defensemen, and speed up the transition to offense. Over a long and demanding schedule, that ability to sustain a competitive standard night after night can be exactly the element that turns close contests into positive results for the Canadiens. In conclusion, these potential moves represent more than simple roster adjustments. They signal a clear intention to strengthen the competitive foundation of the Montreal Canadiens, adding pieces capable of sustaining performance, maturity, and balance throughout the season. If completed, they would be firm steps toward building a team that is tougher to face, more stable in decisive moments, and more aligned with the historic expectations of the franchise. It is not just about individual talent, but about assembling a group prepared to compete consistently within the conference. Moreover, moves of this magnitude show that the organization understands its current stage. There are young talents developing who need solid support around them, and incorporating players ready to assume responsibility accelerates that process without compromising the identity being built. There's also a direct impact on the group's mindset. When management invests in established names, the internal message is clear. The goal is to compete, not just to develop. That changes how the roster approaches each practice, each road trip, and every divisional matchup. Another key point is the balance between present and future. Structured contracts and clearly defined roles allow the team to grow in an organized way, avoiding rushed decisions while maintaining flexibility for future roster adjustments. Ultimately, these moves symbolize ambition paired with planning. By considering this type of reinforcement, the Montreal Canadiens demonstrate a desire to shorten the path between rebuilding and contention, respecting their tradition while aiming for a solid return to the league's most intense battles. And now the voice passes to Canadiens Nation. In your view, would bringing in experienced and established players like these be the right step to accelerate the Montreal Canadiens, return to prominence in the NHL, or should the team follow a different path in building the roster?